Hello again. So this is Aisha here from RapidData Technologies, official partners with Mendix and specializing in Mendix implementations and delivery. This webinar is a collaborative effort of RapidData and Mendix to showcase the potential of the Mendix platform and to highlight how it can accelerate your business to digital transformation. So on behalf of the RapidData and Mendix teams, I welcome you all to the webinar. This webinar is going to be presented by Mike de Wolf, Mendix practice lead for digital transformation, who will be joining us from Netherlands. This will be supported by a platform demo, which is given by Alayat Yahya Al-Khuda, who is a senior technical lead from RapidData. So without much delay, let us begin the webinar. It's all yours, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Aishu. Let me, first of all, I hope you can all hear me, by the way.
Yes, Mike.
Aisha, can you hear me?
Yes, Mike, we can hear you. We can hear you, Mike.
This is Aisha. Can you hear me? Just to confirm. Sorry.
Yes, Mike.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the brief introduction. Before we jump into it, I want to share with you the agenda. So first of all, and I highlighted this in yellow for you, is I wanted to let you know that the meeting is being recorded. And I will share together with RapidData the recording of the meeting afterwards with you. So yeah, today what we are going to cover is basically the current challenges that we see in the market. I'm going to give you a high-level introduction into the platform, followed by a platform demonstration by RapidData, so by Mr. Light. After that, I will run through the use cases and references, so that basically the use cases and references within the Middle Eastern region, as well as a few of use cases outside of them, as it's not related to any region specifically. I will summarize the session, and I will share a couple of resources with you, followed by a estimated 10-minute Q&A session, whereby you have the availability to ask us basically all the questions that you want. During the session, you can write down some questions you might have in the chat box, and after the session, the ones that we were not able to cover, we will cover those in writing and revert back to you, so that you have all the information and the answers to that in a structured format. Good. So current challenges. So this is what we see globally. And this is simply the reality that the customers or our customers and organizations are facing these days. And it looks like this. And this is a statement, it's not mine. It comes from the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau. He expressed this quote in 2018 already, but it's still today's reality. So what he basically said is the pace of change has never been this fast, yet it will never again be this slow. What he wants to say with this is that we are seeing the environment amongst ourselves changing extremely fast, and we have to adapt to that. Organizations simply need to change their behavior, produce, or basically lower their time to market, or improve their time, increase their time to market. They need to reduce costs, obviously, because margins are thin. It's a global playing field. And we, from a technology point of view, believe we have that toolbox that can help you as an organization to be part of this, to make sure that your organization is ready for the future and that your organization can deliver working software in a very efficient and fast manner. Because in the end of the day, that's what we are offering to the market. Software that enables you to quickly and efficiently build software that is first time right. So I hope this resonates a little bit to your reality as well, whereby the business comes to IT departments or goes to IT departments and basically says, This is what we need. This is what we want. We need you to make changes to our systems. We need applications to do our work properly, and so forth. And this demand is only increasing. It's not something that we will see decreasing. It's also not that we think that IT departments will grow in numbers. In the end of the day, things will start working counterproductive. So what you need, and this is the essence of our technology, is you need a toolbox that enables you to cope with the demand. In addition, Mendix, the Mendix platform, brings both the departments together. So we are breaking down that wall. We are breaking a barrier between business and IT, and I will get back to that in a bit. So what do we see? We see that in the market, roughly half of the organizations have issues integrating with their legacy systems and with their system of records. So this is obviously, as data is gold these days, and you want to bring that all together in order to smoothly transition your business from a, I would say, traditional way of working into a data-driven way of working. This is something that you would need to be able to overcome. We also see that 62%, so roughly 2/3, have issues or want to extend their core ERP systems. How that works today is they spend a lot of time, money, so resources into the development of new functionality in their ERP systems. What we are saying, and we will stress that later on, what we are saying is, please leave your core as clean as possible. So whether you are an Oracle user, an SAP user, or any other ERP vendor out there, use your ERP systems the way it was intended and designed. Of course, you're making changes to that, but try to keep that to a bare minimum and use Mendix platform to extend that functionality. And then the surprising part is that only in 10% of the cases, low code is being considered. Now, who are we? I mean, that's probably a question that you have at this point in time. Who is Mendix? What are they doing? How come they are bringing this to our attention? So in general, I would say low code is a trend in the market. Organizations start to realize if we want to move faster, if we want to be more lean and mean, we need to do that using new technology. The traditional way of developing is not going to help us. Mendix is a leader in two different areas, and there is a huge overlap in those different areas, which requires a little bit of more understanding around what is low code specifically and what is MXDP, multi-experience development platform specifically. Multi-experience previously was also known as mobile experience development platform, but it has a broader scope to it. Hopefully at the end of this webinar, you understand where those two pieces get together. Nevertheless, and I think that's great news for us as an organization, in the latest Gartner reports, and the new ones are to be issued in September, we are considered market leaders in both those segments. So as well in the area of low code, as well as in the area of multi-experience development platform, also known as MXDP. And before I dive into the platform, what it is we are doing, I just want to bring to your awareness why people or organizations are considering us. So there's basically 4 buckets in which we can divide that. The first one is organizations that want to rapidly launch new products and business models. The second one is organizations have to be digitally present in the market. And I would say more than ever than before during the current pandemic, this is something that is being literally put into your face, if I may say so. It was there overnight. Organizations have digital transformation initiatives, but now it's basically asked from you overnight. Because if you're not digitally present today, Basically, you're unreachable. You are not available for doing business. The third one is improve operational efficiency. And this basically has everything to do with disconnected processes that exist, or simply manual processes that exist within organizations that you want to digitize. So that could be something in the likes of, we want to make a certain manual process available through a web application, or we want to make it available through a tablet application. And then the fourth bucket is the modernization of core systems. So this basically ties into using the Mendix low-code platform as an extension to your existing core ERP system, or as a full replacement of that core system. It depends. What we always say is, if you have a solution, or if you find a solution that is 80% fit for you as an organization, that should be sufficient and you can change that. If that's not existing, you should really start considering technologies like Mendix. From an integration point of view, and I will touch upon this later on again, is that we can integrate with any database, right? So no limitation there. We can integrate with any legacy system, as long as that technology is enabled to integrate with our technology through API, for example, or SOAP or REST. We can integrate with any external or internal services. We can integrate with any file, and basically we are agnostic in terms of deployment. So you can deploy our solution as an on-premise solution, you can deploy our solution as a cloud solution, and you can even deploy it in a hybrid form. So I hope that this slide at least gave you a better understanding of when should I consider Mendix platform for my organization, and that is what we divided based on our experience in the market in these 4 buckets. Good. The Mendix way. So what is it? What is so special about what we are doing? Because you probably have heard of a no-code platform, and you probably have heard of a low-code platform. But we are doing it slightly different from any other technology out there. So we are a model-driven citizen development platform, and you will hear that more often. But what does that mean? So starting off with model-driven, and Mr. Light will show that later on, the model-driven piece is literally a drag and drop canvas. It's literally defining a business process, not coding it or writing it, but simply dragging and dropping events and decision points, a start event and an end event. So everybody that has strong business knowledge, is a subject matter expert, can define his or her own process without including IT from inception. They can literally start building the application that they want themselves without asking for that initial support. We consider that more no code than that we consider that low code. So in terms of technology, and that's the next slide in which I will cover this, it is an environment that holds limited functionality, but that environment allows for citizen developers to build the application that they need. They are the demanding party, IT is the delivering party. So citizen development equals no code. The more we move towards the right, towards the professional developer, we jump from no code into low code, and within the low code environment, which is also within our technology, within the same platform, but it's a different piece. It is a part of the software whereby you can literally change everything that you want to change to the application. So no code holds limitations in terms of what can I do as a citizen developer, whereby low code allows you to change all the parameters that you want to change. So there is full flexibility available for you as an organization. Hence, our platform is being used for fairly simple use cases up to mission business critical processes. Still, if you are not sufficiently provided with the tools that we offer by standard, you can extend the platform by means of using code. And of course, if you talk about complexity in terms of extending the platform, if you talk about changing the logic related to business processes, when it becomes more and more complex, that's when you start including your professional developer. Of course, also when it comes down to security reasons, governance, you name it. In essence, and that's important to understand, is that even though it's a citizen development model-driven low-code platform, IT will always remain in control, because they eventually will decide whether an application will be deployed. They will decide whether it is within the governance guidelines of an organization, and they might even say, hey, that piece of functionality is already available, we don't need a separate application. So there's full flexibility for citizen developers or for people within the organization to start building. Obviously, that does not mean it will go to production. That's a decision to be taken jointly. The whole purpose, of course, of allowing business developers participating in the process is that you are increasing your capacity in terms of software delivery, because more people are participating. That's one thing. The second thing, and that's perhaps as important or maybe even more important, as the business is a starting point, the first time right likelihood of delivering software is significantly increasing. Now, this slide is a more complex version of the previous slide, but this basically connects the no-code component available to the business developers or the business analysts to Mendix Studio. So that is what we call our no-code environment and the WYSIWYG. So what you see is what you get element. Going to low code, and that's where you start including your professional developers. It's also a professional development environment. So it's definitely not a WYSIWYG environment. It holds all the technical complexity into it, as well as it looks technically complex. However, it's an environment in which professional developers feel themselves extremely comfortable. And then, of course, the code extension, if you like, using Java or JavaScript. Now, before I move on to the next slide, what is that? Applications, when do I use them? How and where do they reside? So if we are talking about applications, we are talking about web applications, we are talking about mobile applications, and we are talking about web applications. But we also talk about native mobile applications. So basically, whatever channel you want to use, or to whatever audience you want to make your application available, you can do that using one single platform. So you can use hybrid responsive web applications that you basically build once and deploy to a phone or to a tablet. But you can also build native mobile applications, meaning that you can use the model, the data model, and the logic that you initially developed for your web application. You can use that as a fundament building your native mobile application for iOS and Android. And you do all those things from one single code base. So you don't require iOS or Swift or whatever programming language. You use Java and you can basically deploy it to those two different channels. Our native mobile technology or functionality is based on the React Native framework that holds the largest community globally. So again, if you today consider building applications, which every organization does, to our understanding, it's extremely important that you make at that point, if you are considering the right trade-off, also looking towards the future. Because if today you only want to build a web application but tomorrow you want to build a native mobile application, you want to make sure that you do not end up with different kind of platforms. You want to make your IT landscape as generic as possible. We build applications 10 times faster than traditional development. So 10 times faster is in the most ideal scenario, but what we've seen, and that's based on true research for which reports are available, it lies between 7 to 10 times faster compared to traditional development. Not only do we build faster, we also build with fewer resources, up to 70%. And we know that there is technologies out there that claim the exact same numbers, but there's one big difference. We bring IT and business together. So we build fast and we build it ideally once rather than building it fast, but going back to IT and going back to business and learning time over time again. Yeah, that's not exactly what we meant. Please go back to the drawing board and get back to us. We try to break that circle. We try to bring down the barrier and let IT let business have a significant voice into application development, so that as an IT department, we actually exactly know what they want and deliver a first time right application. And so we include domain expertise. And what we see is that people from business departments do not hold IT knowledge or deep IT knowledge. Of course, there's exceptions, but usually those people are very good at their jobs, and that does not include application development or deep coding. But that also works the other way around. So IT people are very good at their job, but they sometimes don't even know how their business on the operations side really works. So simply taking over requirements and building those the way you think those should be built is a risk. And the likelihood for software failure, delivery failure, is up to 70%, so 70. Our platform brings that number significantly down, because at all points in time throughout the development lifecycle, or actually the application lifecycle, business and IT within the platform are strongly intertwined. Unlocking and extending your data and systems, that has all and everything to do with the integration. So as I said in the beginning of the session, we integrate with any ERP system, with any database, and basically we turn, as simple as it can be, Excel files into working web applications or mobile tablet applications. One-click deployment, that relates to the deployment to either a public cloud, so Mendix cloud is AWS related. We can deploy to, for example, the SAP cloud platform. We can deploy to Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. We are cloud agnostic as long as the cloud provider allows third-party software to be deployed on their cloud, which most of them do. Within the Middle Eastern region, there is still a significant need, and that's obviously government or politically driven, for on-prem installation. And also this is something that we support by default. I believe I used the word platform quite a couple of times, and what we do is we offer you a platform. So our customers have access to all elements of the platform. There's no add-ons that you need to obtain. There is no going in and out of certain elements of the program and go from deployment into one set of the program and do development in another piece and do monitoring somewhere else. No, it is all embedded within one and the same platform. And this starts on the right-hand side in the top corner, you can see Ideate. So as I try to explain, is dragging in is perhaps a tough statement, but we try to include or drag in the business from the get-go. So within Mendix Studio, so the web-based version, you can basically put in your requirements. Your business requirements have their place there. You can describe what you want. It can be picked up and put into a backlog. It can be put into a sprint backlog. It even supports burn down charge, and there is this interactive element to it. So whereby you maybe use an Excel file for requirements or perhaps other tooling with which we can integrate, for example, Jira. Already our platform caters for this part, most important part of your application development, so the ideation phase. From the ideation, we right away go to development, and development can be done in either Mendix Studio or Mendix Studio Pro. So that's either the drag and drop functionality that is there. You can integrate from that piece of the platform. You can build your business logic or your workflow using the platform. And of course, after application development, you need to test it, which can be done from within the platform, and deploy it, whether that's on-prem or cloud, also done from within the platform. As an application is not a one-time build and you're done, an application is an evolving piece. It has a life cycle to it. So once it's being deployed, it might be that the business is changing, market conditions are changing, the law and governmental guidelines are changing, which means that your application needs to change alongside. So that's from a requirement point of view, whereby you can do some monitoring. But obviously, and also from a performance point of view, because you want to be rest assured that your application is always available to either your employees or to your customers themselves. So ideation, development, testing, deployment, and monitoring, the entire application lifecycle is managed from one single platform. From here, I would like to hand over to Mr. Light, who will give you an introduction into Mendix Studio and Mendix Studio Pro. Light, if I may.
Yes, Mike. Yes, thank you. Okay, hello everyone. I am Laith, a technical lead in RapidData. In this demo, I want to show you how fast and easy to build a smart application. So we created a small application to show you. It is a task management application, helps and allows the project managers to track and audit his team progress. So for example, he can review the task, something is running, something is done. I can see the progress for my team. I will add some new task. For example, here, a new study with a new date and assign to one of my team with high priority. It is already running status. And here I am saving my changes. So the project manager, he have a new requirements, which is he want to know this task to what project is related. So he want a drop down here to see this project is related to what project. So he will start negotiating with the product owner for this application. The product owner will create a new story in Mendix platform. So starting from gathering the requirement, Mendix is supporting you. Here is your story, and the product owner will now move this story to the current sprint, so the developer can know that he will start with this story. For example, I will move these two, and now in Mendix Studio Pro, my changes will come here. Okay, here is my changes. Here is the story. I will update the status that I started working on this story. Okay, starting from my domain model. The domain model here, it is a description of the information used by your application in an abstract way. So easily you can understand, for example, that the task is associated with many nodes. So I can create and associate many nodes with one task. So now easily, I will create a new entity, a project entity, with an attribute, project name. Here is it. And now I will associate the task with the project. So now I can see that many tasks can be associated with one project. Okay, now I need a page to fill some projects inside. So with 2 clicks, I can generate some pages from the project entity. I will choose my preferred layout. And here we are. We have two new pages here. Here's a grid view to see all the projects in your application, and another page to create some new and fill some new data inside. So these pages will be accessible by the manager. I have two user roles in my application. This page will be accessible just for the project manager. Here we are updating the access for this page. And now I will put a navigation item inside my navigation bar, so it will be accessible for the manager. Show a page, the project overview. And now I will map the new field, the drop down inside the task page. So under the title here, I will define a new field. I will map it to the project name directly. Here is the project name. And now my changes are ready. I will deploy my application. Less than a minute, my application will be ready to review my changes. So here I will not worry about my database, my backend, my frontend. All these things are handled by Mendix as a platform. Here is my application, it's going on. And here we go. Project manager will sign in again. Now he can update that one of the tasks, or before that, he will define a new project. The page that we have just created, here is it. He will define a new project. For example, we have two projects. And we have another project here. Okay, now he can update that this task is associated to one of my projects. Here is my changes are saved. Okay, my first change is done, and the developer, he has another story. For that, he will update the current story that he did this story successfully. The next one will be the task validation. So now the project manager noticed that he can create a new task without any validation. He can save an empty task, and this is not acceptable for him. He needs some new validations on the title and the due date at least. Now the developer knows the story, and he will start working on this one. So starting from the task page, on the save button, here there is a microflow. A microflow allows here to express your application logic by performing some actions like create, commit, update, showing a page, and making some decisions. So here I can understand that we have a task, and this task will be committed on my database, for example. So before start doing some changes, I will perform some validation. So in the first place, I will create a new microflow for task validation. For sure, the parameter will be a task. I will create a variable as an output of my microflow. And now I will drag and drop a decision point. Inside the decision point, I will say that the task title should not be empty. So if this condition is true, I will continue. I will validate more items or more fields. If this is false, I will change the output of this microflow. As false, because we have a wrong validation, and for sure I will put a validation feedback on the title, that title is a required field. Now I will merge back the main branch to continue my work inside this microflow. Here I want to highlight the Mendix assist. Here we have a Mendix, the assistance here. It is an artificial intelligence powered agent, helps you to configure and identify the next step of your microflow. So the assist is recommended to me to add another decision point. And in this decision point, I will check the due date. The due date should be greater than the current date time. If this is true, I will continue. If this is false, I will change the variable, the output variable, to false. And for sure, I will show some validation feedback on the task due date. Now I will merge back to my validation, to my main branch. And here is the output of my microflow. I will put the variable that I have created in the beginning. Okay, here my process is done. My logic is built. And now I will use my logic here before saving my data. So I will call the microflow here as a sub-process. Here is it. And now here is Mendix assist again. He is recommended to me to add a decision point. I will check if the validation is true or false. If it is true, I will continue. If it is false, I will end the microflow, and the validation back will appear to the end user. Here we are. We are ready now to deploy the changes again, to review our code. And here we are. Now we'll try, for example, to keep the title empty, and we'll put a wrong date here. Save my changes. Here is my validations. So here I did a new stories for the business user, 2 business cases done within 15 minutes. So here in Mendix platform, I want to highlight that you will focus just on the business value. No need to focus on the code and how to do that and there. Just do the business value. Mendix platform will do all the layers for you, from infrastructure to front end, back end, database. Everything will be done on this platform. And the last thing I want to say that here, with one-click deployment, I can deploy my changes to the Mendix cloud. With one single click, my changes will go and will be deployed to my cloud. Thank you, Mike. I will hand over the mic again to you. Thank you all.
Thanks, Light. Thanks a lot. Going to take over the screen again. So yeah, indeed, basically what Light showed and what was kind of interesting is that literally no coding whatsoever came into picture. So what we see in terms of coding in general, that would only be in the range of 5 to 3% of the use cases. So within the Mendix Studio, as well as in the Mendix Studio Pro environment, you can fulfill literally most of your requirements, not having to touch the code. But nevertheless, it is possible. So the platform allows for efficient and fast development, but also for full flexibility. Before I jump into the references, I wanted to highlight that Mendix is also one of the 10 technology partners of SAP. So for those that have an SAP installed base, this is probably valuable information, because from an integration point of view, basically all the tools that you might have in-house already can be leveraged using Mendix. What you are looking at right now on my screen is basically not even specific to SAP, but what we do or what we can be. And if you remember the initial slide I showed you in which kind of events people are considering Mendix, we can be that layer, or we are actually oftenly used as that layer, connecting all the underlying separate components with each other. So that can be separate SAP or Oracle or whatever components from the same vendor, or it can be different components, let's say, for example, SharePoint, Oracle, SAP. We are that layer, and we basically bring together all the data and all the business logic into one application, if you like. Good. Some use cases and references. This is what we call our NASCAR slide. So this gives you a glimpse of the customers that we have on a global level, and to the extent relevant in the type of industries we find them. So we have globally a lot of banks and financial services customers. So that's both banking as well as insurance, or for example, leasing. So as you can see, we are literally, let's say, the main application build platform for the likes of Barclays, Wells Fargo, Allianz, in the insurance industry. Zurich is one of our lighthouse customers. If you look at retail, I mean, we all know Walmart, but getting closer or coming closer to the Middle East, we recently signed a very big deal with the Landmark Group based out of Dubai. So they started in March, or actually the first week of April, with development, and they are basically moving their application landscape to Mendix, as well as replacing some of their old core systems with Mendix. As you can see, within the logistics business, we are extremely strong, and again, to your closest reality, Aramex is a huge customer that runs end-to-end using Mendix technology, and they are planning to even increase that further. One of the main drivers for them today to start further expanding is the whole pandemic that's ongoing, which basically for them is an event that is good for business. I mean, of course, you don't want that to be good for business because it's kind of contradictive. But as you can imagine, and we are all in the same boat, from a postal and package delivery or parcel delivery point of view, it's busier than it's ever been. Within the healthcare business and within higher education or education per se, we have a strong footprint. Maybe a bit on higher education is that we have a university program, not only with universities, let's say in the Netherlands, or for example in Saudi Arabia, we're looking into this cooperation with the Princess Noura University, but also with the Ivy League universities in the United States, where Mendix is literally part of the curriculum. And that obviously increases the adoption of the platform. Eventually, we're all about citizen development up to IT development, but learning everybody to work with Mendix obviously ties in strongly to the citizen development element of that. And within manufacturing, we are also extremely strong, and we've only become stronger there because since 2018, Mendix is a Siemens company, so we are acquired by Siemens. And the triggering event for this was their product lifecycle management. So the PLM side of the business is now strongly integrated with Mendix. So you can imagine that all the devices, the smart devices that manufacturers hold, are to be connected with each other. And that's why Siemens has decided not only to use Mendix, but to buy the entire company. As I said, regional references is within Dubai is the Roads and Transport Authority, North Takaful, so the insurance company, the Federal Authority for Identity and Citizenship in Abu Dhabi, so where people arrange their documents online, that runs end-to-end on Mendix. Dubai Municipality, where Mr. Light himself is one of the lead Mendix consultants. They have a huge project based on the Smart Dubai initiative or the paperless office initiative. So they started off in September last year, and they recently went live with their very first smart office application that integrates many different services from many different entities, and that's only expected to further increase. So that's literally and in all honesty a lighthouse example within the region. Aramex, as I just pointed out briefly, is going to further increase its footprint within the organization. The Landmark Group, and also very, very interesting, and we are obtaining more and more information because as a vendor, sometimes it's difficult to track, but the Ministry of Digital Economy and Entrepreneurship in Jordan, and all its underlying ministries basically, they are using Mendix to build internal applications, so basically to improve that operational efficiency, as well as serving all the citizens of Jordan with whatever service they require from a government. And of course, governments are not Sunday through Thursday organizations or 9-to-5 organizations. They have to be available to us 24/7, 365, and that's what they are working towards. And just as an example, and that's what we know today, so this is only expected to increase, that by January 1st next year, they will deploy or bring to production over 107 more services, and that's already ready today, and this is expected to only increase even further. So those are, from our point of view, as the Middle East is a dedicated region for Mendix, this is great. And of course, our partner RapidData is having significant importance there as, let's say, our hand and eyes and technical capability within the region. So we are very thankful for that input and basically the expertise that they bring in order to make our customers successful. So why are they using, so those organizations, why are they using Mendix? So RTA, like the Dubai Municipality, they are all about getting rid or eliminating paper trails, paper processes. The Landmark Group wants to improve or increase its time to market. So that's why they use Mendix. They feel extremely comfortable using our platform to further improve that time to market and to, in a more convenient way, offer their products to its customers, as well as improving the internal way of working. And that's a must, obviously, in retail where competition is strong and margins are thin. So you need to have an IT landscape that works as efficiently as possible. I just briefly touched upon the Dubai Municipality. So their basically main driver is the Smart Dubai initiative, and how can they, the best possible and most efficient way, adhere and cope with this and make sure they have all and everything in place. They've decided to choose for Mendix. And then, of course, as I just briefly mentioned, the web and mobile application available for the Ministries of Information in Jordan. This is, and I will only highlight this during such webinars and presentations. It's not something that we as a company, for example, put on our website or use as a LinkedIn campaign. The pandemic that's currently ongoing to us is, I would say, not necessarily an eye-opener, but it brings also some form of acknowledgement, because what we always say to customers, and there's a big difference between saying something and truly delivering, is that you can basically build applications quickly and efficiently. I would say that's a great marketing statement, but we are showing this in reality. The pandemic forces us to quickly answer questions, to quickly take measures. And so what we've seen, and this is what we see across the globe, spanning from San Antonio to the Netherlands, which is our home base, to the United Kingdom, is that, for example, the Dutch railway, like probably in the Middle East, they are suffering with this new reality of 1.5 meters distance and how many people can then make use of trains. They build an application for their employees that basically allow them to manage that capacity. And the pandemic is ongoing for a couple of weeks now, and obviously these kind of applications need to be available fast. And so that was developed in only a couple of days. Our ministries, and basically a whole consortium of ministries and companies, and this is again a global use case. We need protection. Our workers in hospitals, people that work in restaurants, they need to be protected, as well as citizens need to be protected. But all those products are to be procured and stored, and so this whole inventory and management needs to be clear. That's something that was built. The municipality of Rotterdam, and we are a Dutch-based company and actually headquartered in Rotterdam. They are our neighbors and an important customer as well. But they were in urgent need of an application that gave their citizens a good overview of their test results. And when they also were eligible, receiving government allowance. So that application was built quickly, and this same principle basically applies to the Cabinet Office in the United Kingdom. So bottom line is that we actively contribute to, let's say, helping as much as we can, basically coping with the pandemic, with the COVID-19. So as a company, we really try to do what is expected from us from a technology point of view, but also it shows that we can indeed deliver applications quickly, and luckily, and we're very happy with this, entities, governments, citizens benefit from this as we speak. So in summary, what is it we've been talking about, right? Because it's a lot, but it definitely adds a lot of value to organizations. So to summarize, we deliver at speed. We don't only deliver at speed, but we work together with IT and business in such a way that we work fast and that we can deliver working software first time right. So it is the software that our business is expecting from IT, from us, I would almost say. It's not only something that we deliver, we also allow for active collaboration. So you as an organization, you can still choose, IT will always develop. That's also fine, but it still means that business can actively contribute. They can, I would say, real time see what IT is developing for you. You can steer them and guide them. So speed plus collaboration, I would say, equals first time right software developed in a way that is efficient, developed in a way that does not require full stack development from scratch. there's a lot of accelerators available, and one of the accelerators that we did not really touch upon, but one of the accelerators is also our App Store available that offers you, for example, out-of-the-box connectors to your ERP systems. It brings you template applications. For those using SAP, it even brings you Fiori templates. So if you can't find the application in the Fiori catalog, you can actually build it very quickly with the same look and feel using Mendix. So Mendix is being used again to build web applications, mobile and tablet applications, not only as a hybrid/responsive application, but also as a fully native application. And I want to stress fully native mobile application, because we are not a native mobile icon with a wrapper, with a hybrid application behind it. So an application that if you press on the icon, you go to a website. No, we offer you the full native experience for both iOS and Android. And control. So the platform puts you in behind the steering wheel, so to say. So from ideation to development, deployment, testing, deployment, and performance, all done from one and the same platform. As I said in the beginning, the recording, we will definitely share that, but also we are sharing with you a couple of resources. So if you want to learn more about Mendix, we have our own YouTube channel that covers basically all the topics, which is extremely active. So if you want to obtain more information, you can educate yourself going there. The presentation also provides you with what we call a digital execution manual, which is not actually even technology related, but it gives you an idea about what kind of role Mendix should play within your digital transformation initiatives. It's a good read, but it gives you perhaps an even better understanding about what we are and what we do and how you can benefit from it. And of course, last but not least, feel free to reach out to the team that basically provided you with the presentation or the webinar today. So that's Ms. Aisha Light, who gave the presentation, extremely knowledgeable around Mendix, both from a functional as well as from a technical point of view. And of course, I will also always be there to support RapidData, having those successful conversations with US customers. Aisha, if I may hand over back to you, this basically concludes the webinar, and I would say, looking at the time, we still have a couple of minutes, and I have a couple more actually to cover questions if you have any. If you want to put them in chat, we will definitely get back to it. But Aisha?
Mike, I have one important question. You were stressing about the native app capabilities. Mm-hmm. But what we found is, like, generally when we are implementing the native apps, we need to have this fingerprint, right? Fingerprint login. I still find no widgets available in Mendix for this kind of implementation. So when that is coming up?
It is. I know that it is available. I was in demos the last couple of weeks, so we have it. I think what the best way to do this, because it seems as if maybe it's a knowledge gap, if I may say so, but just reach out to me and I will set up a brief call with our solution architect, and he can show you right away how to do it. Or Light, if you can help out, also feel free to jump in, but it is available in the platform, the biometric features. It is available.
Oh, you mean it's officially available in your Mendix store?
Yeah. No, it's not even available in the Mendix store. It's a functionality within Mendix Studio Pro, which you can actually activate or deactivate. So it's not something that you need to import or anything. It's available within Mendix Studio Pro.
Okay, this is great. I have not checked. Okay, let me check this out. And you were also stressing about the business team themselves can develop applications, right? Is it really so? Because see, I mean, I know Mendix is low code, and we are extremely happy having this product in Dubai municipality. But I still feel we are still a long way forward for getting this kind of maturity where business team themselves can develop a mobile app or the application. Do you feel the business teams can develop? I mean, not just in I mean, not only in Mendix, even in any product in the market.
Yeah. So yeah, for this I would need to answer your question. Do we think it's possible? Yes, and of course to a certain extent, because it obviously depends on the knowledge and the capabilities of the people, but also and this is honestly something we would need to take offline, but it basically relates to everybody in the audience, is that it definitely takes a training to get familiar or to become familiar with the basics of using Mendix. So that's something which we would always advise. Maybe to your point, I don't want to claim, and I feel we need to be very honest and transparent about this, that if I give you login details to Mendix that you are good to go. No, it would make great sense to set up a training and make people familiar. And maybe it's something which you don't know yet, but I can share that in the same email with all the people as well. Our training is free of charge available. So always the collateral on the online portal is always free of charge available. But until the end of June, even certification for rapid application development is free of charge available. So I think this is definitely a learning path that citizen developers should undertake. And of course, we can set up training classes, these days remote training classes, or they can enable themselves. But that's obviously a prerequisite in order to successfully contribute in application development. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have some more questions. See, when you say the free training, is it all the stages of training available? I believe you have 3 different stages of development, right? So the training. So is it available free in all the stages, or is just a basic one which is available for free?
Yeah, everything online is available for free. The only thing which we charge for is certification. And until the end of June, what we do not charge for is the rapid application development certification, which usually is $400, which is now free of charge. But to just once again stress, all the online training materials are always free of charge available. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I will share the link with everybody to our training portal, so you can experience that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Mike, I have a question here. Hi, Ganesh from 3i. How is it different from the Power Platform, which Microsoft is positioning along with the e-commerce portal as such? Because that's also low code, and I worked on that.
Yeah.
And now vis-a-vis also the cost aspect, and the third, I mean, as a corollary to the same question is on the security standards. Is it OWASP compliant from the portal and the app perspective?
Yeah, so regarding compliancy is basically we hold all the necessary certificates in order to be considered safe. I will share that information with you as well, because it's freely available, the certificates that we hold. That's one, to answer your question. You specifically relate to, I believe, Power Apps, right, from Microsoft?
The Power Platform. The Power Platform of Microsoft includes Power Apps, which is exactly the Mendix Pro. And then it has got its own inbuilt flow and a visualization tool called Power BI, which ties up with AI and ML. Yeah, so in that aspect, how do we do?
No, that's a clear so there's huge differences between the solutions, because to start off with, let me touch upon a deployment briefly. So if you want to deploy it on-prem, that's perfectly fine. If you want to go to cloud, then it's Azure. So that's it, whereby we are portable, so you can go to any cloud. If you like that vendor lock-in, if you don't have issues with that, that's okay. But obviously, organizations try to avoid vendor lock-in, and that's what we eliminate. The second thing is, we are a platform. So whatever you want to do, from UI, from business logic, workflow, integration, basically the platform is what I showed you. That's not what Microsoft offers. It's not an integrated platform. It's basically a collection of tools that, yes, eventually lead to a similar thing, but it's not integrated. And I was purposely saying that it's not bringing you the same, because Power Apps and Mendix can coexist. For a simple reason, is that Power Apps has limitations to it in terms of complexity. So for fairly simple applications, internal applications, you can use Power Apps. That's okay. If you want to go beyond that, you basically walked into a dead-end street, and this is what we do not offer. We offer something that is fully flexible, that can be adjusted to its fullest extent. And yes, you can build fairly simple applications, but also we build applications, for example, for PostNL, which is like RMX, handling up to 18 million transactions a day. So that's mission critical. And even more importantly, and I think this is the biggest difference, is that the native mobile experience is not something which any other competitor offers from the same platform. So it might be a hybrid application. I know that Power Apps is more internally focused than externally focused, but what you want to try to avoid is to have all kinds of different solutions, that if you want to build a simple application, that you're good with Power Apps. If you want to build a more complex application, you need to obtain either a new platform or do it the old-fashioned way. So that's a second choice. And the third one is, if you want to build native mobile applications, you again need a different technology. So they cover a subset of requirements, whereby we cover all the requirements using one single platform. So those are just a few examples and differences between Power Apps and Mendix. Not saying that Power Apps is not a good solution, but it simply does not cover for all the requirements that an organization has or might have. And what we oftenly ask our customers in conversations is like, okay, today you want to build an HR application, but what is it you want to build in the next 12 or 18 months? And any decision should be based on a mid to long-term strategy. Otherwise, you simply walk into dead-end streets. I hope.
Mike, let me answer straight to Ganesh. Ganesh, see, we are the customer of Mendix, and okay. I'm being very honest with you. We are extremely happy buying this Mendix. Moreover, we put in strategy. I myself put in a strategy to replace this Microsoft apps. And this Microsoft apps, it looks so easy in the beginning, and it is not to the enterprise scale. This is the problem, and there are many applications which we have to invest more to replace. And in Mendix, I believe, like now, even our main portal, you can check our main portal where we went live last week, and people are extremely happy. We are not facing any performance issues. And also, see, for example, SharePoint, they projected in the same way, but what it fulfilled. Now today we are replacing SharePoint, and because it was so easy compared to any other application. But when it scales to the enterprise scale, where we have more than 13,000 people, where they keep adding so many things, and it becomes extremely slow. And it is even today, if they touch one link and it hangs, and this is the problem with the Microsoft apps. So Power Apps, I believe, we have a Power BI, so I can comfortably comment on that. Power BI is another, it's good, but that not to the scale of Mendix or whatever it is. I mean, Power BI is a different solution, but Power BI as such, it's a mature solution. But Power Apps, no, I believe, I don't know, it's, I think, long way to go for Microsoft.
Thank you, Ganesh. I think this was way stronger, hearing this from a customer than from the vendor. Thanks a lot. I have 7 more minutes left.
So the differentiation. the differentiation between the cost between Mendix and the Power Platform.
Yeah.
What could be the comparison? Dubai municipality is big, it's huge. But let's say if you position this to retail, omni-channel, most of the people who are going to revamp their portal pages and as well as go mobility or go for mobile apps. In that sense, we are talking about, let's say, somewhere between 50 to 100 users. Where would we see this coming in?
Yeah, so
no, see, it is it is based on the negotiator from the client side, Ganesh. I mean, today we are paying more license cost for SharePoint than Mendix, by the way. Okay, it's all about how we negotiate with Mendix and Microsoft. Both can be expensive if the negotiator is weak.
No, I'm talking about list pricing, Prakash.
Yeah, but so if I may, of course, price depends on indeed one of the things is negotiation, right? Because that's always something that's happening. But some things are simply difficult to compare. I have conversations really with people that say, I want to go for Power. Let's take Power Apps, as we're talking about Power Apps. I want to use Power Apps because it's cheaper, and I'm okay with that. It might be the case, it might not be, but they're only covering a subset of the requirements. So it's basically, I will always try to compare this as, yeah, I actually want to buy a car, and eventually I get back with a bike because the bike was cheaper. It does not really do what I want. It's not for long distance, but okay, I have something which brings me from A to B, but not to the extent I want. So we take that case by case, and I'm more than happy to offline, and if there's an underlying opportunity to look into this, but it's not as easy to simply say, okay, you know, Power Apps or OutSystems or what have you, they are cheaper or more expensive. We hold tons more functionality, and that obviously reflects in price. Are we 10 times more expensive? No. And that again has more variables to it than simply list price. Yeah.
Hello. Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Hi. This is Varghese here from Indian Software. See, how close is OutSystems to you?
Yeah.
And who's your closest competitor as per your benchmark?
Okay. Same. Actually the same vendor as what you just put up. So closest to us is OutSystems. But then again, OutSystems, if I would just touch upon three things that really differentiate us from OutSystems. OutSystems, first of all, is not a citizen development tool. So it requires, in this case, .NET, coding skill sets. So you are by default eliminating your citizen developers or your business. That's one thing. Second thing is there is significant deployment limitation, not if it comes down to on-prem, but definitely if it comes down to even on-prem, by the way, Linux versus Microsoft, which they can deploy to, but definitely with regards to cloud deployment, very important. And the third one, and it keeps coming back, but it is the fact that OutSystems is not able or capable of producing native applications. And I know that there is some different opinions about this, and I also know how they bring that to market. But it's fairly simple. If you build a application for a iOS or Apple device, it will come with the icon. But as soon as you press on that, it will bring you to a website, which is a hybrid application. It's a responsive web application. So those are the three biggest differences. And actually why I'm stressing the native mobile capability is that an application is only successful once it's being adopted by its users. And what we see is that in 80% of the cases of adopted and successful applications for tablet and phone, it's native mobile. So what you want to do as an organization is you want to obviously build applications, but you also want them to be used, because otherwise you simply miss the entire point of investing in building applications. So again, it's native mobile capability, it's deployment capability that's lacking, and it's the citizen development element which they don't have. And I believe that's actually the gap between us and OutSystems. But to your question, who is closest to you? That would be OutSystems.
Okay, perfect, Mike.
You're welcome. Yeah, to everybody in the call, I have actually a minute left. So Aisha, if you want to say some final words, yeah, I suggest we conclude the webinar. I would like to thank on my behalf and on the behalf of Mendix, everybody for participating in this interactive webinar. I enjoyed it a lot, so thanks a lot, and I hope we talk to each other soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Mike. Thank you all. Thank you all for your questions. And we hope that this webinar was an eye-opener for all of you on how Mendix can upscale your business and drive your digital transformation and innovation in your business. So and thanks Mike and Lyth for the wonderful presentation. So we will be sharing the recorded session with you, and also along with that we will also be sharing some useful links which will help you to explore more. And we will also be giving you a composition of all the questions that were asked by all of the attendees here, so that it will help you more. Okay, and nevertheless you can always call, or you can email us with any queries that you might have. And RapidData is always available for any business opportunities you might have. Please contact us for any Mendix opportunities, and we'll be happy to help you with